One of the things I really enjoy about architectural photography is that it's a great blend of technical and artistic. You need to have that artistic eye to find the right composition and do the staging, but you also really need to have the technical chops to make the photo match your vision. My name is Mike Kelley, and I'm a professional architectural photographer based in Los Angeles, California.
The first tutorial that we ever did with Mike, Where Art Meets Architecture, ended up being the most popular photography tutorial that we've ever created. And this tutorial starts where the last one left off.
I just want to add a little bit of snap, a little bit of sparkle to this. I don't want to go nuts and paint everything, because again, that would flatten it out and make it look kind of unbelievable. I just want to embellish what's there, not take it overboard.
In the first tutorial we produced with Mike, it really started at a beginner's level. This new tutorial really steps everything up and it focuses exclusively on luxury homes.
So right now is the perfect time to be shooting at twilight. The exterior ambient has fallen to match the interior ambient. We have that warm, glowy interior and the beautiful blue exterior and the sea of city lights underneath us. It's an awesome picture. I'm going to do a few shots with David in the scene and see how they look. And it's really, really hard to make a very interesting, compelling composition, especially if you're not shooting amazing architecture. So if you look at this shot right now, every single line in the architecture, in the ceiling, in the floor, is leading directly into the exact center of the frame. That is the most traditional one-point perspective.
We start out this tutorial in Los Angeles and we shoot a few incredible houses in that area, but then Mike wanted to shoot houses that look totally different. So we flew to Hawaii to shoot 2 additional homes.
We're at this incredible house called the Robert Turkey House. It has won a ton of awards, it's been featured in a lot of books, and we're super excited to be photographing it.
I think one of the big differences between real estate photography and architectural photography is the way the photographs make you feel. And Mike's done a very good job of not just shooting the space with a wide-angle lens, but really narrowing down and, like he said, creating art. He's creating images that now look and feel like high-end architecture.
So let's take a look at the 3 sort of finished images that we have. We have this one with the bounce light. Looks really flat to me, kind of washed out, too bright. We've got our natural ambient only picture, which I think is pretty nice, but honestly, I think there needs to be more mood in it. So what we did, we put a light outside. This is personally my favorite of the 3. We've got nice crisp light coming in. It's modern, it's edgy. Shadow is what creates depth. It's what creates texture, and it's what guides the eye through the frame. In some spaces, you just can't make a great photo at certain times of day using only ambient light. So what our job is to use additional light to embellish the space. I'm gonna go almost inside and pretend that I am the lights in the house. And I am casting this warm glow out into the lawn, just adding some texture, some detail, big soft circles of light with this hot light, pretending that we are the interior lights lighting the exterior.
Obviously, a huge part of Mike's style is the post-processing and his Photoshop techniques. And so to teach that, what we've decided to do is give every single file that he uses to create each and every shot. So if you're anything like me and you learn by getting your hands dirty and actually doing it yourself, you're going to be able to follow along with Mike with the exact same files.
All right, so here we are in Photoshop, and I'm gonna show you how to open these JPEG files so that they stack automatically as layers in a single document. Something that we're gonna do for every photo here.
So I've been using Photoshop for 10 or 15 years now, and I've seen a lot of photographers use Photoshop. And some of the ways that Mike solved some problems that I deal with all the time were really ingenious. I would see him use the gradient tool in a way that I thought, why in the world did I not think of that?
And I'm gonna select my gradient tool, G for gradient. And what I'm gonna do is just as before, I'm gonna sample on the top of that gradient, and again, on the bottom of that gradient, and I'm gonna drag that over and gently just kind of paint out the hard edge of that gradient. I want you to learn how to use all these tools effectively so that you can approach each photo that you're making differently and find the best possible solution to make an amazing shot that not only captures the architecture, but pulls people in and does justice to that architecture. I don't really think this photo needs a ton of light. There's not too much in the foreground that's gonna light up very well. And we have such strong composition that, again, I don't think we need to add light to make this a better photo than it already is.
As you guys probably know, every single house that you shoot poses completely different problems. And because of that, we wanted to shoot a range of different houses with totally different issues that Mike had to work through. We shot some homes that are completely white and open and airy. We shot other homes with black floors and dark wooden ceilings. Some of the houses that we shot are almost completely made of glass. These pose a ton of different issues, but Mike is able to teach how he gets through each and every one of them.
And as you can see from these shots, everything behind David is completely blown out, but I just love the mood of this shot. Some people might think I'm gonna go crazy bracketing exposures here and put it together in HDR, but I don't wanna do that. I'm gonna pick a sky that I like that fits the scene that was shot at the same time of day with a bit of cloud and a bit of drama, and I'm gonna drop that in right over this flat sky that we have here today.
The interesting thing with these fancy high-end luxury homes is that sometimes the lighting is amazing and you can pull off a great shot just with natural light. But in many cases, the views are so extravagant that the lighting is actually pretty complicated. And what Mike teaches you is how to get that perfect balance between ambient light, light painting, and then pull it all together to produce a really compelling image.
One thing I see a lot of photographers do that I think they could improve on is when they shoot scenes with amazing views, they tend to spend too much time and energy focusing on the interior rather than the exterior. And rather than try to bring in the view using Photoshop, I'm gonna actually zoom in and use a 45mm lens, a bit longer than usual, to make that view seem larger than life.
Mike really made this tutorial with professionals in mind, and so he doesn't go over his camera settings or explain to you how Pocket Wizards work in this tutorial. Instead, he's focusing on every little minute detail that goes into perfecting one of these shots.
I'm gonna grab my brush, opacity at 100, and I'm just gonna sample one of these colors on this pillow. Maybe this looks like the color. And I'm just gonna paint that whole thing in. And obviously that looks super goofy. But if I come down here and I change the blend mode to color, what happens is that pillow goes from having that funky moire effect to just taking on the color that we sampled. In the first one, I taught you all the tools, but in this tutorial, we're really focusing on a lot of the artistry involved with capturing high-end homes with an architectural client in mind. I notice a lot of people trying this technique, and I think they kind of mess it up because they spend so much time focusing on the house, but the picture is so much more than that. The foreground is so important. You want to pull people in, and you want to do it in a way that doesn't flatten everything out. So make sure the light is coming towards the camera and that it makes sense in the context of the architecture.
Now, I know what a lot of people would be saying when they watch this promo. This is way overkill for real estate, and it absolutely is. This isn't about creating a perfect photograph to sell a home. This is about creating something that's going to be published, something that's going to get you that commercial job, and something that's going to be used for an architect or interior designer's own portfolio.
If you look at Architectural Digest, you look at an article on Architectural Digest, and it's maybe 10 pages long and has 15 pictures. They are all shot as very artistic architectural images. I argue that those 15 pictures would be far more effective in selling a property than 35 17mm real estate photos. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the knob on the lens, I'm going to go to the right, and the camera is not moving, but the field of view is changing. And that is the beauty of a tilt-shift lens.
Now, as always, this tutorial is a digital download. You can go to fstoppers.com/store right now, start downloading it and watching it immediately. And keep in mind that these files are all unlocked, so you can watch them on your iPhone, your iPad, your laptop, your computer, your television, anything goes.
When I get in here and I shoot pretty high, what happens is I tend to diminish the architecture. I see a lot of people make this mistake. They go buy a 12-foot tripod or they get one of those crazy pole rigs and they put the camera as high as they can. But the problem with that is I find that it really diminishes the architecture. I want it to look almost epic, foreboding, larger than life.
If you're just getting into architectural photography or real estate photography, I would still recommend the first tutorial that we did with Mike. It's much more geared towards the entry-level market. But if you're already a professional photographer in this industry, you are going to love this tutorial.
The aim of this shot over here is to get a reflection of the purple and red setting sun in the mountains, which match up perfectly with the windows of the house. One of my favorite shots ever is of a house that's relatively similar to this, set in Iceland. I used the same exact technique to catch the setting sun in the reflection of the windows, and the house looks amazing.
To learn more about Where Art Meets Architecture 1 and 2, head over to fstoppers.com/store.